Are you with me? Welcome to the Gentleman's Talk. I'm your host, James Dean Littlejohn. I'm here to talk about mental health. And I'm back. I'm back on my favourite day. And it's Mothering Sunday, so happy Mother's Day to all of you beautiful mothers out there that is hopefully being spoilt on this day, this hallmark day, as they say, for you. It's a day for you. So I'm certainly doing my bit for my wife, my partner, and I'm making sure she has a nice relaxing day. Sunday roast is in the oven. All the accomplished, all the details, the accoutrement, the lot, everything is all in there. So yeah, how are we? I've not spoke to your wife. It's been a bit of a rocky one in the sense, not in a negative sense. Before I sort of break into it, you're on Crossy's ear again. No, not at all. No, what I mean is, it's been. I've had so much on. I've had meetings in London. I've had broken into, sort of normal jogging, if you like, business as usual. Home life's been a little bit chaotic, and and I've just basically I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time, a good week now. I was like, I've got these podcasts I want to talk about. It just happens to be that sometimes life gets in the way, and I do enjoy art as well. So art has taken over this weekend. So it's kind of like, you've got to try and find that work-life balance, and this is something I talk about all the time. Getting that work-life balance right. And for me, I'm quite, I don't really stop much. And when you actually look at my life, I don't really relax. Not in it, it's all self-inflicted. I absolutely do it myself, and I do it for my own reasons. It's what my mind wants to do, so I allow it. So, but sometimes it does exhaust me. But this weekend was art weekend. I hadn't done art for a couple of weeks, and podcast was kind of my sort of, my oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? I literally can't think. It was at the forefront of my mind. It was my priority. That's the word I'm looking for. Precedence was the other word. See, when you stop and think, these words come flying back in. But podcast was my priority at the time because I've started a new venture. So this is my free reflection aspect that I talk about mental health. And I love this bit because I love giving back to the community. I've built my whole foundation of where I am today on the basis of this podcast, The Gentleman's Talk. And it's really, really important because obviously I've recently been diagnosed with, I say recently, a little while ago now, but I'm going through the NHS route to get the medication, the stuff I've talking about. So I've decided to do a premium content on ADHD. Why premium? Mainly because I put a lot of effort into this, as you probably hopefully have realised by listening to me for this long. I put 167 hours into this podcast alone. That's a lot of time. 167 hours. That's more than most people work in a fucking year. So as long as a full-time job, a dad, a husband, a son, a brother, a friend, my artwork, which is a big part of my life. The 167 hours is a big achievement for me. And really, I wanted to go down ADHD. I'm learning about it. So I felt it was one of those ones where I need to feel a little bit of value for myself. It's okay giving back to the community, but sometimes you've got to get compensated for that time. And I think that personally, with 3,000 downloads of my podcast so far, when I haven't really advertised much because it's expensive, and this is what I talk about. So this is my way of giving back, but at the same time having the ability to be able to promote myself and reinvest. And I talk about this as well. This reinvestment purpose has to come around somewhere. And when you put so much effort into something, it's really important that you get rewarded for it. And I think that me personally, I'm very, very humble in the sense that I never really give myself the sort of kind of the gravitas that I think I deserve. I kind of just go, this is who I am. I enjoy these aspects. If these aspects help promote my positivity, well-being and mental health, and at the same time helps other people, then absolutely. The downside is buying the computer system, spending £20 a month on Adobe Auditions, buying the microphone at £150. My artwork costs me £60-70 per piece that I have to invest, and I've sold one piece out of the 15 that I've made, so do the calculations there. So everything takes money, everything takes time, and it's okay making things for people, it's okay doing things for people. But again, I've probably in the last, I don't know, 6 months alone invested about £700-800 into myself through all of this. So I need to get that back, because otherwise I'm going to be constantly in a negative, and it's okay giving back. But at the same time, if I can get that investment back in and still offer the same kind of detail, fun, frolics and everything else that I can chuck your way, then absolutely. And I enjoy this. So it's a win-win situation, because I get to do something I love, and get paid for it, but in a really small way. I mean, £9.99 for a permanent subscription to my channel, my premium channel, I think is acceptable. Because that's nothing really. That's a one-time payment to listen to me on on something, a subject that I'm learning about. And if you've known anything about me in this whole entire journey in the last 14-15 months, you'll know I put my heart and soul into everything I do. And that draws me in, actually. So here I am. This is reflection. Why am I doing reflection early on a Sunday? Well, it's Mothering Day, so I need to give a little bit back to my family. But I'm committed, and this is the importance. So here I am. Normally I do this in an evening when I'm relaxed, chilled out. I'm not saying I'm not relaxed and chilled out now, but normally it's kind of the last thing I do, the closure before bed, if you like. I'm doing it now because I've got to juggle some things around. You need to multitask. But at the same time, this is important to me. This is the importance. And this is where I'm bringing us back into the mental health zone. We're back in the room, people. This is where I talk about the learned habit. This is where I talk about commitment. This is where I talk about assurance and accountability. They all fit into, you need to do that thing routinely. So you need to do that. If you don't do that, then you are going to fail. It's as simple as that. You have to do something routinely. Now, I've been doing this routinely at a minimum on a Sunday for 15 months. And I now know that every Sunday is investment time to myself. With that, I invest in you. I invest in me. I invest in the podcast, and I invest in everything. So it's a big investment for me. It's almost like, I've invested in, I don't know, fucking Etsy, because I'll say it because I've just been on Etsy trying to sell some stuff. I've invested in Etsy, and Sunday is my reflection day to see my returns. And that's the important bit is with anything in mental health. When you stick to it and you absolutely nail it for 3 months, this is a really key part, and I'm gonna keep bashing your eardrums, listening about it. But when you absolutely do that, that's when it becomes a learned habit. That's when it becomes the norm. It's only when you step outside the parameters of what you've now incorporated as a new learned habit does it change. So if, for instance, you go running every single fucking Wednesday, and then that one day something happens, I don't know, a family event comes up, because at the end of the day, like I said, sometimes we have to juggle our priorities around, hence the reason why this is an afternoon podcast now, not an evening podcast. I'm juggling the things around, but the key part is between me and the gatepost, or me and you, if you like, I'm still doing this. What a lot of us tend to do is we tend to get into a learned habit. We tend to get into a routine with something. It becomes enjoyable. We start seeing the positive signs, and then something will chuck in something. Like life will chuck you something, your curveball. Like either you feel ill or you just don't feel it on the day, and you've not really got the sort of gusto. That's acceptable. You haven't got the enthusiasm for it. Or a family event comes up. Whatever it may be, that's what causes the problem. And then you stop. And then you go, I stopped last week, but you know what? I feel quite happy being lazy. And then you get into a fucking spiral. And then we start cascading down. And then when you sit there at the bottom and you're sat in this pit of despair thinking, I'm overweight, I'm unhappy, I'm not really positive, the fucking world's against me, I fucking hate this place. When you're in that pit of despair, I guarantee you, and you listen to me, I guarantee you that when you reflect back and you do an investigation process on your own well-being, you gave up at some point. You stopped the journey and you didn't pick it back up. Now, the key thing is, if you're successful at making sure that you do these things, what we tend to do, and anyone that's successful in any way, shape, or form in something that they've incorporated to better their health, mental health, or invest in their future, if they've done anything like that, like me, if you enjoy the process, you will make time for it. I've made time for it this afternoon. I've gone in and I've said to my family and my wife, I'm going to be gone for a couple of hours because I'm doing 2 podcasts. I've got an hour to talk to you beautiful people, and then I've got an hour to talk about my new beautiful people, extension of this beautiful people, about ADHD. It's a slightly different topic, but I want to add a little bit more to that. So I said, I'm away for a couple of hours. I've made the time to do it. I haven't sat on my fat carcass and gone, sack the podcast off. I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to cook tea and I'm going to eat tea. And then I'm going to sit down and watch a movie or whatever we do as a family, whatever it may be. And then I'm going to go to bed. And I'm going to go, okay, then I'll catch up with tomorrow. Tomorrow won't come. Tuesday won't come. Wednesday won't come. You'll get to Thursday and you'll go, I'm close to Sunday. I'll save it for next week. And then what happens is you've then gone, like I've done before, 2 weeks without talking, 2 weeks without doing what the thing is you enjoy doing. Now, I'm committed enough because I've put a financial investment into myself with this. So there's a financial implication to this, which I think adds a little bit of a positive aspect for me because I've invested in myself. I'm just going to be, I might as well just hemorrhage money. And as you get older, you tend to be a little bit more upset when you hemorrhage money. And for me, that's the aspect that keeps this going. But however, not just that now. That would have been on my dark days. That would have been where I've gone, fucking sack it off. But, oh no, do it, James. You know, and you get those days and you've listened to me over this last 14, 15 months. You've listened to those days that sound horrible and they're tough listens. And I know for a fact because unfortunately I see the stats. So I know what podcast, when I release it, I know what the podcast does. And if you get 100% engagement, it tells you you've got 100% engagement. A couple of my podcasts have had 50 to 75% engagement. Now, what does that mean to you? To you, probably nothing. That, to me, that means a big thing. That means that people got to 50% and stopped listening. People got to 75% and stopped listening. And that's the important bit. So that's when you know. And I won't ever undo those podcasts, and I will never stop talking about what I'm talking about because those difficult podcasts are actually the most important ones. They're the ones that were fucking tough for me to get through. So they mean the world to me. Just as much as the easy ones like here where I'm just fucking talking along like bumble, bumble, bumble. So I've done that. That's the learned habit aspect. That's the important bit. And if, like I said to you, if you're in the pit of despair, you're sat there and the world's against you and you've got no fucking money and you've got no fucking this and no life, no social life, no relationship, no friendship, no job, whatever it may be, have a look back. Have a look back. Look at the accountability, because where are you sat where you fucking sat in a pit of despair? Are you sat at the garden looking at your beautiful flowers and your beautiful house home, looking at your beautiful family? Or are you sat in a dark room watching shitty TV on your fat carcass in joggers you've been sat in for 4 or 5 days with dinner stains down your front, and then your hair's a mess, you're unshaven, you smell because you've not quite washed properly? Do you see what I mean? You've got to be accountable for you getting up your arse and doing that. Getting off your arse, not up your arse. Whatever floats your boat. Maybe up your arse floats your boat and gets you fucking going. I don't know. But you've got to do it. You've got to. And if something crops up in life, then make time for the thing that makes you happy. If that's running, walking, doing whatever it may be, artwork, wakeboarding, snowboarding, snakeboarding, boarding, and boarding. If it's any of the boardings, get the fuck stuck in there and get out. Whatever it may be in life, it may just be seeing family, it may just be seeing friends, it may be just going to the pub and having a breakfast and a chat like I did the other Sunday with my friend. And these are the important things that we need to do. And that's the positive nature. You have to make the time to do it. If you don't, and you watch the weeks turn into months, and I've got very good friends of mine, and I've also got friends that I've lost because they do that. They sit on their arse and they don't do anything. And you kind of go to yourself, what are you doing? You're moaning and pissing and moaning about life. It's not going to fucking fall in your lap. If you win the lottery, it's lucky. It really is fucking lucky. Don't rely on the lottery win. Get up and get what you need to do. Like I said this morning, I woke up, I'm out this morning, a crack of fucking dawn, as soon as Tesco's opened, getting some fresh tulips for my wife, so she's got some fresh tulips on Mother's Day. I'm sat down there painting, doing the top coat on all my artwork, so they've got a lacquer finish on them, and they're curing at the moment. I've raked my garden and re-fed it, and I'm starting a podcast. I've done 2 walks. All of these things are because I'm committed. I'm wanting to do that. And that's where I spoke last time, and I do. We all have these dark days. Fuck, I do. You've heard me. You've heard me down in the pits. But you've got to take accountability to pick yourself back up a bit. And my last podcast where I spoke to you and I was in a fucking dark place then, my friend listened to me. I think it's the one called Sheesh. That was it, Sheesh. It was tough. That was oh my God, do I need you? That was a really horrible place for me. And I can reflect heavily on that because it was a big impact. It was a dark point in my life. My friend listened to me. And do you know what we've done since then? And this is the positive aspect of reaching out and talking. We've been to Spoons and had a breakfast on the Sunday. We had a full English breakfast and we chatted away. Absolutely fucking lovely. We've been up to the club, the local rec club in the middle point of where we both live. There's a little village called it's not a town now, called Amesbury, and we meet up there. We have a once a week now. We're committed. We've bought a membership, and we're going to go once a week to have a pint and a catch up. Just literally relax. These are the things we're doing to incorporate. He's taken a new step. He's quit his job that was his old job, that was his part-time job that was making him a bit miserable, and he's got another part-time job, an outdoorsy job. So he's making investments in himself. I've started the gym, so I'm going to the gym with my wife 3 days a week because it's important to go with somebody. So these are all things. So now when you look at my week's pretty much like a full of positivity, and this is the investment piece. So Sundays, we'll start for Sundays. I don't know why I start on Sundays. I just do. Sunday's reflection day, big reflection day for me. That's a self-investment day. I use Sundays for myself because everyone's a bit subdued. No one really knows what the fuck Sundays are about. It's just a day of relaxing, isn't it? But I use it as reflection. So I listen to music, I do my podcasts, I just relax, I pot around the garden, and it's just a general pot a day. And it's really good because I slow down, I take time, and I think about what I'm going to do in the weeks coming. And then you break into Monday, I'm going to the gym. Tuesday off. Wednesday gym. Thursday I'm going to the social club to meet my friend. Friday I normally just have a social with my friends, either gaming or whatever it may be. Saturday with the family, and that's a really positive week. And obviously, as we break into the summertime and spring is upon us, we'll be going out more because the sun is shining. The weather is I'm breaking into it. So here I am talking to you. And I've had a bit of a doozy, so I'm learning all sorts. Always learning. I think it's really important to always learn. I've got a gin in this afternoon. Listen to this. That is a beautiful gin. That is to get me through this podcast and talk to you with a little subtle gin in the background. Why? Because I can. Anyway, I have a doozy, and I mean a fucking doozy of a poddy. I mean an absolute doozy. And why didn't I think about talking about this before? I don't know. I think you get I think when you talk about mental health, you kind of get stuck in, you just bumble your way through. This is a learning process. I have no structure to this. I have no plan. I literally spark, I hit record, and I fucking talk. And everything just comes from my brain. There's no script. There's never been a script. I just believe in, what I read, what I understand, and what I feel, my emotions. And I think that's a really important part. But when we talk about mental health, there is a topic that I have never fucking come across. And that you may have done. Maybe I've been blindsided. Maybe I've just been a bit naive. And the title is really kind of... it sort of gives it away a little bit. It's his and hers. What do I mean by his and hers? Well, I read this article and I've gone, and actually I saw a little TikTok in it. The TikTok made me go into the article, and I read this this Johns Hopkins medicine article, and then that led me into a little rabbit hole, like it does, where you kind of go, okay, well, I've read that article. This is a related link. I'm going to read this article, and they all said the same. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. Okay, in a good way, because it made me really rethink and reevaluate possibly how I talk, but how I think about mental health. And the key is, like I said, depression, his versus hers, really is what the topic is, I think, for me. And one thing I haven't spoke about is there's a massive list between the differences, and this is a different. I think the reason I've not spoke about this, and it just hit me there, just whacked me right on the side of the face like a fucking sloppy wet fish, and fucking slapped me. Oh god, that's a dirty wet tuna, and I'd have thrown up as well. It's probably because of all of this, and I'm not looking at it as a negative, because but please understand, I was born in the 1980s, so I am a little bit older, so I don't really understand a lot about this. I do understand enough, but I know there's a big thing at the moment with gender and how you identify, and he, him, them, they, all of those sort of things, and I absolutely get that. There's a place for inclusive talk. I do understand that, and I think it's really positive actually to look at inclusive. I think we've gone a little bit too far at the moment, but that's just a personal opinion. I think we've gone a little bit too far with some of the things, with making sort of men that that are men, haven't gone through the sex change but want to identify as a woman, competing in sports and really like smashing the shit out of women's records for life because they'll never get undone. I think that those sort of things are a bit different. I think that if you want to identify and you want to do whatever you want to do with your life, you crack on. I don't. So I will caveat this. The whole of this segment is going to be based on his and hers. So that, to me, I am identifying as two genders. There is a male, there is a female. So I apologise. However, I know that I can underpin that with mental health doesn't really, and this was what you're going to come at me with if you were going to come at me, mental health doesn't really pick a gender. However, how we deal with, how we deal with our gender is the key part for me, and how we deal with not gender, how we deal with our mental health. It really does fit into how a man and a woman would. So irrelevant of the details of what you identify as. I know this is long-winded, but I really need to put a disclaimer in here because I'm going to talk a lot about his and hers. So I am identifying as two genders because that's how I was raised, and I think that mental health, although it doesn't discriminate against who it attacks, the way we react are based on this. So this is a reaction point. And one thing we don't do is look at mental health in the aspect of two different genders. And I think that is really, really important because depression looks massively with women. Women, when they're depressed, they sort of kind of go into an emotional state. They kind of cry, they get upset, which then brings in other females and friends because they see the emotion. Men react to that emotion because they see the emotion in the woman and they go, Christ alive. All men know if you see a woman crying, you're like, fuck, something's happened. In most cases, I don't think men will ever really understand women, but you go to comfort the woman. That's what you do. What men tend to do is get angry. We tend to get angry. And the way I was raised was boys don't cry. That's the way that you were raised. And even now, I think there's a lot of times where you kind of look at a boy and you go, no, mate, what are you doing? You don't cry. And I think that it's hard to get past that because you need that kind of instability. You need that kind of stability in a sense as a man because it gives you that testosterone boost, I suppose. But it's not a case of man up. It's not a case of you need to man up. It's just a case of sometimes I think that say for instance if you hurt yourself, a lot of the times men are taught just to fucking get on with it, just like, yeah, just brush it off and crack on, mate. And you need those kind of people as soldiers, as leaders, as whatever. You need those people that just brush it off and crack on because you need that resilience in nature, in human nature. You need that resilience. You can't have everybody going fucking, I stubbed my toe, I'm off for a week. You can't do that. The fucking world will shut down. But we have to do it in an inclusive, and this is where we'll fall back round, in an inclusive manner. And we have to do it with a little bit of diplomacy and a little bit of delicacy, I think, as well. And that's where we're nurturing each other. It's not a case of, shutting down, man up, fucking stop crying, get on with it. It's just a case of, let's have a fucking chat. We can deal with this. We can push these things through. And for me, I think it's kind of a really key element there that we don't look at it like that, because men, when they're what do men do when they get depressed? What do? Well, they absolutely plow into work. They plow into just completely and utterly overwhelming themselves with tasks so they can take their mind off of the thing that's making them upset, and they can move forward, and they can just go fucking get on with it. Yeah, they're just going to do this. Give me the next job. Give me what do women tend to do? Women tend to get a bit emotional about things. They tend to be a little bit like, I don't like this. This is quite bad. And I don't look at that. Is not a negative at all. Okay, I will caveat that. Not a negative. None of these are negatives. This is just what our brains do. Men tend to overload themselves and kind of get into tasks, and they do more work. And women tend to get a bit upset, a bit emotional, and kind of it overwhelms them. Now, I think that that's the mental resilience of men. We are taught to be a bit more mentally resilient in that sense. However, the downside to all of this is, and the positive to a woman by showing her emotion is, she shows her emotion. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. We're going to go and comfort her. We're going to go and support her. We're going to nurture her back through. We're going to let her know everything's going to be okay. If it's work related, we're going to support you through training. If it's home related, then, whatever, hopefully your family will come together and support you. But that one trigger, and I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that we all need to go away and cry, but that one trigger point has kicked in all of society's support. And that's what it does. And as a very base foundation of support, it comes with female friends. They're very close knit. They look after each other. If someone gets emotional, I always talk about, and this, I hear the conversations. You have to remember and understand, I've got 3 daughters, a wife, and a mother. So, all of these women, at some point in their life, I've seen all of them cry. I've seen all of them get upset about things, and a world and an absolute plethora of different things as well. It's not pinpointed to one thing. I've seen them get upset about a wide variety of things. However, the one common denominator between all of those people when they've cried, they all had support. Whether it was from me, whether it was from my dad that supported my mum, whether I supported my mum, whether I supported my my family, my wife, my kids, whatever I've done, that emotion has absolutely quickly, snap of her fingers, provided support in seconds. How many men have you been out there that have listened or seen a woman cry? Whether it's a woman in the street, do you not, if you see a woman in the street crying, what would you do? You'd want to go and comfort her and go, are you okay? Is there anything I can help? It's a natural instinct, unless you're an arrogant fucking prick. But you would naturally go over there and you would be like, shit, what can I do? Are you okay? I've done it. I've been in work. I've had a woman come into work and she completely, I was doing an audit, completely unrelated, never met her before. She fucking broke down into tears. Next thing I know, I'm in a coffee shop talking to her, putting the world to rights with her. Now, that one emotion from a woman triggers a world of support, a world of shock. How many times have you seen a woman cry in a situation and you've gone, fucking hell, that's calmed down? How many times do you see, if you've been in I've been in, I'm not going to deny it, young as a young lad, you were in fights. Who was the one that was kicking off? Who was the one that was getting emotional? The women were. And then you'd listen to their shrieks and their cries and you'd stop. Because that is a shock factor of a woman when they're upset, and we naturally trigger to that. It's just like an emotion that instantly subdues a man. Now, what don't men do? We don't show emotions, do we? We just bottle things up and we move through life, and we wait till fucking, well, we don't even know what's going to happen. We just assume that our brains and bodies are going to sort this out. The unfortunate fact is, 9 times out of 10, it won't. Your body won't sort it out, and your brain will go, I've had enough of this, mate. I don't want to do this anymore. What the fuck are you doing? And we don't show emotion. We don't trigger it in. Now, I've got a key bit of evidence of where that works. I did a podcast, Oh My God, Do I Need You? And yes, I absolutely did get emotional because I was going through a lot of shit at the time. I still am, and I just lost a little bit of control. My three closest friends, my best mate rung me the next morning. Listen to you, mate. Fuck, and that's what's kicked in all of these new things, these new going out at weekends, meeting up, getting memberships at social clubs, etc., etc. It's kicked in a world of positivity that wouldn't normally happen, because normally I wouldn't have said anything and I'd have gone through life, and the next thing 9 times out of 10 that you hear is that when a man's upset is he's no longer with us. Well, what the fuck? Well, actually, there was some signs. He was angry for like the last year. He's been fucking really like, quiet. He's isolated himself. He's put on a bit of weight. All these negative things. I saw all of these signs, and then they go, "What did you do about that, though?" Well, nothing. He was angry. Oh, do you not ask why he was angry? No, I just kind of. And then the next thing you know, he's a statistic because he's gone, I can't deal with this anymore. Now, it doesn't show signs of weakness. It doesn't mean you are weak. I did that on a podcast to you, the world, everybody to listen to. I did get emotional. But what did it do? It wasn't a full cry. It was just the tone in my voice had changed. But you could feel the reverberations through the microphone and went, he's not right. He's not right. My mate rung me up. Then my other mate texted me saying, I'm here if you need me. And then my other mate, Bill Sturt, a couple of weeks later, because he is a bit of an ignorant fucking prick at the moment, he will listen to this, so that's why you'll get that. Listened to my message, listened to my podcast, and said to me, I'm here. And he was going through his own things, but still reached out. Now, what is the common denominator there then, people? What did I do that was different to what men don't do? I shared my emotions. I shared my thoughts. And it kicked in my friends. I didn't shout to the world. I didn't fucking cry. I didn't get upset. I didn't say... But what I did do was I spoke with emotion. I changed the tone of my voice so you could get it. And it's really important that you do that. Men have really big pitch changes. I can go really low and you can go really, really high. You can go really... But your voice will dictate that. And it was clearly apparent by the 3 closest people to me in my little friendship group, my 3 closest friends, all said to me, how you fucking doing? Now, if I'd have not spoken, we'd have gone weeks and weeks. Then I'd have probably met up with them, down the beach in summertime, and I would have said nothing about it. And we would have just gone on, how you been? Yeah, I'm doing okay, mate. You're not really okay. Inside, I'm fucking crying, killing people. I want to fucking ruin the world. I fucking hate the world. I hate people. And for me, that's the important aspect, is I didn't do that. I just went, fuck me, life's a bit fucking tough at the moment. Problem shared is problem halved. And that's what I did. Now, it didn't mean I didn't open up to them anymore. I just said thanks for being there. The fact that they reached out to me and spoke to me was enough to give me the evidence I needed that I've got people that love me. That gave me the positive aspect to carry on. And that's the key part. That's what women do right. Excuse me a second while I take a little sip of my Gino. Oh, it's a fucking delight on a Sunday afternoon with a little bit of sun in the air. Spring is upon us, people. Spring is upon us. So, and that's a difference. Do you see the difference in that? That's such a key part, isn't it? That you just, by the tone of my voice, my friends listened to me. They reached out to me and said, are you okay? It's kicked in some positive things. Now, what do women do? Women get emotional. Men jump in. We support. Friends jump in. Women friends support. Chocolate comes in. Flowers comes in. Pamper days come in. All of these good things to re-bolster that person and make that person feel great. They've showed their emotion and everyone's gone, fuck me. Christ, let's get her. She's a valued human being. I fucking love her. I'm going to make her feel fucking special. I'm going to bring in some chocolate and some flowers. It's going to perk her up because she knows she feels loved. Then we're going to go out the weekend. I'm going to come over on Friday. We're going to have a gin. We're going to go out for a pamper day or a shopping day. Fucking brilliant. They've got it right, people. Come on. What do? We bottle it up. We fucking give ourselves more pressure. We do DIY things. We fucking chuck ourselves more workload. We isolate so we're alone. We're fucking crazy. We are crazy fucking people. We're crazy men. And that's the problem, is then we get to the point where we're going, and then we get there and we go, oh, no one's around us. Well, no one's around you, mate, because you didn't fucking say anything. I didn't know that. And even then, we do have failing points. Now, this is the thing. This is the easiest way to talk about this in risk assessing. If I said I was in a really shit place, what would most people do? Well, I'm here if you need me. We need more than that, people. We need more than that. This is the key part as well. This is another key element to this, is men, when they reach out, you need to reward that. Fucking right, mate. Or, I'm feeling shit, mate. Do you fancy going, we're going to be slightly different. We're going to go to the pub. We're not going to go shopping. Unless you like shopping. You might like shopping. If you like shopping, go and do it. If your friends like shopping, go and do it. If you're down somewhere, you've got an afternoon, come meet up mid-ground. This is what me and my friend did, Kieran, my bloody good man, to the point where I've made him a gift, because he really has been there for me. He rings me absolutely every day, constantly involved in just my well-being. So for me, and even he goes through his own things massively, but he's always been there for me. So I made him a gift. And that was a really, really key part. But, so for me, what I did is we reached out, and he implemented those things. He went the extra mile. He said, right, we are going to the rec club. So we went to the rec club on Wednesday, and we had a game of snooker. It was a fairly close game, actually. I was a bit devastated because I thought I was pretty good. Not saying he's bad, but he's not a snooker player. So in any way, shape or form. So I must say that. But he showed some good, he showed some good positivity. So this is going to be a beautiful future, playing snooker together. I love snooker, I really do. It's just one of those. It requires skill, and it requires precision to a degree. It's not like pool. I love pool as well, though. But we're going to go to the rec club, and he did that. And then first off, he said, should we go to golf on the Sunday, the 2 days after I'd spoke? And I was like, golf or breakfast? We ended up going to the Spoons, and we had a great breakfast, and we had a great chat. Couple of hours, went back. That's the bit that bolsters up. A text message is okay. And don't get me wrong, it's basic foundation level. Actually going the extra mile by acknowledging someone feels shit. And this is what we don't do as men. And I'm fully that's 100% my fault as well. I don't do enough of it, as I don't turn around and go, what the fuck are you doing this afternoon? And I think we get into this place where we just shut ourselves down so much, men, that we don't. And I look around and I see my missus and my kids fucking talking to their friends. They're on their fucking phone every single fucking day. My wife FaceTimes her friend every single fucking day. I'm just like, wow, Christ. I mean, I send my mate a 2-minute message saying, if I can have a great day. You're going the extra mile there, mate. But this is what we don't do enough of. And this is the difference between how we cater for men and women in our mental health. This is why we need to look at the differences. Men and women are so different in how we approach our own mental health, how we deal with it. And unfortunately, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. And that's that's accounting for nearly, 8 out of every 10 suicides is men. 8 out of 10 suicides is men. That's a boggling statistic, and I love statistics. And for me, it's quite an overwhelming one. And I think it's probably because we don't have those key elements as men. We don't really nail into the whole looking after each other as we should. And I think that's why those statistics will always be so high. And that's why I think it's really important that we offer advice. And you've seen it, clear hand. Evidence is there that by acknowledging that you're not feeling great, but adding a little bit of weight behind it, and then by, as a friend, stepping in and going, I've acknowledged you're not great. We need to do something because I've not been very good at being a friend, or if I make that effort because you haven't quite got the mental strength to make those decisions, which is another key part to men, is we do get to a point, I think, where unfortunately when you plow into work and you plow into isolation, what you don't then have is the mental capacity to do the social aspects, which is why a lot of men, when they really start losing control, we don't shave, we don't wash, we tend to sit and just wallow in our own self-pity. But on that's on the background work. But on the FaceTime, what we are doing is we're fucking absolutely smashing it. We're at work fucking like a demon. We're like, fucking, I'm doing this, this, and this, and this. And that's because we give up the valued part of our life. We give up the social aspect. We give up the engagement. We give up the fun, the friendliness, the cleanliness. We give up all of that to function. Our role as a man in society is to function. Now, there was a sort of a little thing that I watched this little clip the other day, and I was just trying to remember actually on what it was. And there was this little village, and basically all the men were, completely and utterly sort of suicidal. They were having really, really, really high suicide rates, and they couldn't understand why. And it was because men didn't have a job. They ultimately they needed that sort of that element, which is a lot of the reason why we have things like the military. The military is a great function for men because it gives you structure, it gives you discipline, it gives you commitment, and it gives you everything. That's why a lot of men turn to the military, because of it fills all the functions. It gives you sports, it gives you a bit of academic, it gives you the war. We all love, it gives you everything. You get to play with guns, you get to do all sorts. So it ticks all the boxes from a man's perspective. But the higher the suicide rate is when men don't feel they don't feel like they're needed, they don't feel that they're required. I had quite an in-depth conversation actually with my dad the other day. It was actually yesterday, and it was to do with Mother's Day, and we were coming across. And the reason I sort of shouted out to him is my dad's in his 70s. He hasn't really had a family role, I suppose. He's always been dad, and he'll always be the dad, the big cheese, the man, if you like. I always call him the big cheese, and he'll always be that guy. But you do get to an element, I suppose, as a dad, where you become a little bit redundant. You kind of go, okay, well, I don't need to look after my boys. They're off. They're doing their own thing. But you need that life fulfillment. And my dad wasn't getting this from work either. So, he wasn't getting the fulfillment, the job satisfaction at work. So he's been a bit of a limbo. And we had a bit of a conversation yesterday. It was just, we hadn't spoke for a couple of weeks because I've done the stupid thing as a man. I've isolated myself. And what I did was I said to him, are you okay? And I had a long conversation with him. He said, well, do you know what, son? I'm not really. He said, I need purpose, and I haven't got purpose. And that's what men like. Men like to feel needed. As much as we say we don't, we do. We need to feel we have a purpose. We need to feel like we're like doing. That's why when the jar comes to us and it's like, can you open the jar? Men are like, fucking pop, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. Because we feel like we're needed. If you're not feel needed, then men will go. And this is the reason why I want to run sometimes and go off to do my own thing. Because I'm like, if no one needs me, then I'll go and work on my own. I'll go and live on my own, and I'll give myself that gratification through whatever it may be, whatever my medium. So that's what men do. And I said to him about it, and I said, are you okay? He went, not really. I said, I'm close to being redundant. I've not had a job for 3 years in the civil service to a degree because, his job was kind of disbanded and he kind of moved into another role, but the role was never really never came to fruition. So he's been a bit bumbling around. He doesn't feel like he's a dad. So we had this long conversation. It was a beautiful conversation. And I said to him, well, you're the fucking dad, mate. I said, you're the dad. Take fucking charge. It's Mother's Day tomorrow. What are you not doing? Why are you not organising an event for the family to come over? Why aren't you taking charge of this? If you're not happy at work, then move to something that you can do that gives you that ability to feel wanted and needed. Even if you're 70 and you still want to keep going because you still want to feel, that's another thing. Men want to fucking just carry on going. And I said to him, and we had a long conversation. He texted me. He didn't say a lot. He never does because he's born in the 50s. So he's been there. He's fucking seen some crazy times. I mean, if you imagine being born in the 50s. So just at the end of World War II, he was it's about 7 years after the World War II, I think it was, and you know, he's gone through the Gulf, he's gone through Falklands, he's gone through all these conflicts, he's military, but he's also gone through 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s music genre. That alone says everything to you. You know, he was, you know, in his 70s, his prime was his 70s and 80s. What a time to be alive. So he's seen it all, and he's got to the point where almost feels a little bit redundant. And I think that's probably because of the fact that we're heavily reliant on technology. We're heavily reliant on, you go to work now and everything's technology, and you don't print anything out. I've not had a printer for fucking 3 years because I've not printed one document out. Whereas he still relies on printers. I think he's still got a fucking fax machine in work. And all of these things, I think, are what holds a generation back to a degree. I've managed to move with it a little bit, but I do know people in my generation that were born in the 80s that still struggle with what is basic, you know, basic stuff now to my children now, you know, sort of like, you know, late teens. You know, technology is everything to them. They literally, you know, FaceTime to me is still, I don't use FaceTime. It's still a baffle to me. My kids are on FaceTime 24/7. They're never off of it. How the fuck the bandwidth can fucking deal with it, the way they talk. And I think that you do become a little bit like that. And I think that where my dad's kind of, his mindset is keep going, his body is keep going, but you still need to move with the times, and you still need to move with technology, and it is a fast-paced world out there. And I say to him, just fucking step back and enjoy. And that's for me, because I'm in my 40s and I want to step back and enjoy. But he's like, no, I don't want to. I want to feel purpose. And that's the difference, I think, between men and women in the sense of how we deal with mental health. And one of the reasons why I thought this was such an important topic to talk about, because, excuse me, I've just moved my leg, went dead. It went literally dead, actually. I think it's gone. So you know, and I think that's the important thing. We don't look at mental health in the right aspect, and the reason it pulled me into this is because this is very much how mental health now is. It's moving leaps and bounds. I'm not kidding you. But it's I say moving leaps and bounds. It is moving forward, but really we've gone backwards. Like, but they are looking now at mental health through female and male. Ways of way we deal with things, because I'm completely different to how a woman would feel it, and I think that's the problem, is why our statistics are so high, is because we don't have that little mitigation barrier. We don't have that little intervention where we show emotion and everyone comes in and goes, fucking hell, well shit, you know. Because you look at a woman when she shows emotion, it's like, fuck me, has it got that bad you're showing emotion? And they do look at it like that. They do say, well, fucking hell, you know, are you okay? Oh, it's just got on top of me. It's been like this for a couple of fucking weeks now. Then when you speak to a man and his bit, when it's got on top of him, unfortunately, that's normally when he's become a statistic. And then you go, okay, then the signs were there for a fucking year, mate. Because we don't show emotion. So we bury it deep. But signs are things like anger, isolation, weight loss, weight gain, mood swings, lack of cleanliness. These are all signs that you don't associate with a healthy man. A happy man never shuts up. A healthy man has a healthy body and mind. And that is a key part. You need to understand that. If you're failing somewhere, you're not happy. You need to find why you're not happy. Deal with why you're not happy. Because if you don't deal with it at the first point, at the baseline, that first little creep bit where you've started to show a bit of anger, and you let it get to the point where you're just a walking fucking ball of anger, where I am most of the fucking time. When you get to that point and you're walking around like that, that becomes the norm. That becomes a learned habit. That becomes how you react to everything. And it's taken me, and I'm still working on it, it's taken me fucking 2 years to undo 14 years of negative behaviour. And I'm still working on it. I'm still struggling. Because I've done it for such a long time, my initial reaction is, bosh, fucking raw! You know, and that's the key part, is when you get like that, everyone tiptoes around you. Everyone knows when I'm in that fucking mood because it's become a learned habit. And this is what I'm trying to undo. And this is where I say to my dad, you know, well, find yourself a purpose. Find something that you enjoy to undo or to supersede what you found as a purpose. If your purpose is, like my purpose at the moment is get healthy. get healthy body, healthy mind. And I've given myself that purpose. And I said to him, give yourself that purpose in life. If it means dropping down your hours to do more things that are rewarding to you, because there'll be a point where you can't get up in the morning, you can't walk, 20 miles. Well, you can walk 20 miles now, so walk fucking 20 miles. You can do your DIY where you can. So when you're in your slower ages of life, where you should be now at 70 anyway, you can actually fucking relax and enjoy, because everything around you's done. And that's the educational piece. That's talking. I've spoke to my dad for 45 minutes. That's the longest I've spoke to him in one stint, like conversation talking, because we're on a phone, so you can't kind of sit there and pull your phone up and I've spoke to him and spent the day with him before, in work, but you go off and do your own little things, so it's never full on board. But a direct conversation for 45 minutes. I do it a lot with my brother, actually. He's a prime example. I talked to my brother for, a good hour. It used to be an hour constantly, because he used to get the first hour free on mobile phones. So he used to get to an hour and he used to hang up on me on the button. The cheap bastard wouldn't pay anything to carry on talking to me. Or he'd hang up on the hour and then re-ring me again. And then he'd be like, oh, we're going to talk for an hour again. I'd be like, no, mate, that's not how it works. You're not having 2 hours of my time. Precious, my man. But it was good. It's important to talk. It's important to talk. And I think this is why I was so passionate about talking about this, because for me, it's about understanding that men and women deal with emotions differently. You can't categorize mental health as it's mental health. Oh, if you've got depression, okay, then so you fit into this category. Well, do I? Oh, you've got ADHD. Oh, you fit into this category. We're now learning ADHD has 7 different categories. We're now learning mental health. Depression has different levels. Stress has different levels. And we're actually understanding more about mental health. Autism has different spectrums now. They don't even call it, I think they call it something else completely different. It's the autistic spectrum now. And for me, and it's like the understanding with ADHD, and this is the bit that I talk about in my premium podcast, where I talk about understanding failure and things like that. With ADHD, there's so many different aspects that can understand that it makes life a minefield. I understand it's a minefield, but what we need to do is put in these little things in place. Hold accountability for your understanding of your own mind and body, and also acknowledging that we need to look at mental health in these 2 spectrums. We need to talk about mental health in these 2 spectrums. You can't have depression in a woman being the same as depression in a man, because there is not the same. There is no similarities in how we deal with things. Women deal with things completely, and I've just spoke about emotion ultimately, but there is massively different aspects that are really involved in understanding mental health. And I think that's the bit that I want to sort of dive into, because a man will just carry on. He will just go to work every single day. I did it for fucking 4 years. Went to work every single day. I never took a day fucking sick. I was there 24/7. That was my life. Was it healthy? No. But because I was unhappy and not doing the things that I've been talking about for the last 14 fucking months, because I was doing none of those. Everybody, from a business perspective, an employee perspective, from a colleague perspective, I was winning. I was there 24/7. The work was fucking exceptional. We got the best fucking. We were the best site in all of the sites in the contract. It was spectacular. So from an outside point of view, everyone's looking in, going, "This guy's achieving. This guy's fucking winning." No, he's not. This guy's fucking hurting. Because anybody that spends more than their fucking their required hours at work is avoiding something. You are avoiding your work-life balance. And that's the fucking part there. You're avoiding the situation. Rather than dealing with the situation, you're shutting yourself down. You are doing a form of isolation. The thing is with that form of isolation is that isolation is negative. It's really negative. And why is it negative? Because everybody looks at it as he's not isolating. Everybody, even your wife, your partner, your husband, whatever it may be, your father, mother, brother, sister, friends, they don't look at you as isolating because you're in work. So you're at work. So I'm there at fucking 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night. I'm there. And I'm winning at work. Whilst I'm in work, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'm borderline fucking crying. I'm hurting. Every aspect of my body and mind is hurting. But because I've done the man thing and I've dived into work and I've used work, and I'm not saying it's just men. There is women out there that do that. There is. But inherently it's men that do that. They don't show their emotion. And a woman might do that, but she'll show emotion fairly quickly. Men will do this for a sustained period of time. Till it gets to the point where the man will literally go, what the fuck am I doing? I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'm overweight. I'm unhappy. I'm doing nothing but spending time at work. Nobody's fucking there for me. Nobody's around me. I've got no friends because everybody just knows I work. What's the fucking point, mate? And then you are a statistic, unfortunately. That's you. Because you go, what's the point? Whereas what you could have done was just at the start gone, fuck this. Do what you need to do. Get in, get done, get out. Spend time with your friends and your family. Enjoying fucking life. Making your life worthwhile. Because if you want to get to the end and all you want to say is, well, yeah, I did a fucking amazing job for Serco. I was the best camp in all of the sites. Did you get bonus for that? Oh, no. Did you get pay rise? No. But I was the best. I've got this bit of paper that says I was really good. Oh, okay, then so what are you going to do with that? Well, not a lot, mate. Once I die, that will just literally go in the bin because nobody will know what it's for or care about it. Oh, okay, so, and you died early because, oh, yeah, this is, by the way, me at the pearly gates. You died early because, well, I was invested. I was invested in that work. I did a good job. Oh, but everyone around you is having a good time enjoying life and without you. And I look back at all of those 7 fucking years where I lived away. And I see my girls growing up and I see them on the beach. I see them with my wife. I see them with my mum and dad and friends and family. I see the photos and I'm in none of them. Why? Because I was at work. I was doing what I do best. I was winning. I was succeeding. I was at work. Yay. It doesn't fucking matter, does it? I should have been in the photos. They're the things that matter. They're what I can take with me. Everything else gets handed back or binned. I take love and I take memories with me. That's what I take with me. Okay? Bear that in mind the next time you're sat at your desk, unhappy, not dealing with the situation, ploughing into work. Look and go, this isn't very good. What am I going to get out of this? Nothing. By all means, win in life, win at work, but don't do it at the detriment to your mental health and stress, your mental health and well-being, okay? That's a key, important reflection note there. Take it away with you, Daniel Boob. Anyway, you lovely, lovely, sexy bastards. As always, I'm going to finish off with a little bit because I am trying to press myself again. So please, comment, share, chuck a like on Podbean, for fuck's sake. Jump on, say, give me a share. Share my podcast, whatever you need to do. Help me out as well because I really appreciate it. My heart and soul's invested in this, and I really like helping people. And I'm going to finish up on a little note that it's going to eventually come round to another friend of mine. So a friend of mine called Mark. He's at the moment walking. I think I mentioned him. He's doing 10 miles a day, and for a year to raise money for a mental health charity and lose a bit of weight. And I've been briefly talking to him over TikTok, actually, believe it or not. And I'm doing a charity project for a men's mental health charity to do with my artwork, which is going to be coming up soon, which is absolutely amazing. I really can't wait for that. They brew their own beers. I've got 2 beer bottles that are coming my way. He's sent them full, which is phenomenal, so I can sample the delights. And then I'm going to turn one into a cracked glass. Some of my artwork. Check out my Etsy page, James Little John Designs. Oh, is it James Little John Designs? Little John Designs, I think it's called, actually. So bear with me a secondo while I just get stuck in. It's called Little John Designs. Check me out on Etsy. And I'm going to check me out on Little John Designs as well. James Little John Designs on Facebook. And I'm doing a little art project for the mental health charity, which is going to be amazing. One's going to be a broken one. One's going to be a complete one, laid in the resin. Don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I think I've got to cut the bottle in half, so I'm going to have to go to a glass cutter, which is going to be a bit fucking pricey probably. No, it won't be, because I'll work a way of doing it myself. So it's going to look like a complete one and a smashed one, and it's going to show you, and we're going to do something to do with mental health around being, you might be broken, but this is what we do to become complete again. And I think it's going to be a beautiful little story. All pro bono stuff. They're just paying for the materials, which is absolutely fantastic, because I get to put my heart and soul into it. And, the publicity side of things will be great. So, that's all standing by. So there's some good stuff there. So, like I say, if you ever see any of my stuff, like, comment, share. It all really does help me massively. When you invest in yourself, it's really important that the people around you support. So, and I'm reaching the world. Like I said, hello to the Yankee Doodles, my good American friends. I think I had someone from Switzerland as well. Poland's listening. Russia's listening. Crazy. That's something to do with, not spying on my ear buggers. So some really positive stuff. I've got a smile beaming on my face, because, this is about the positivity. This is what I'm trying to promote here, positivity. So, yeah. Amazing listening to you, amazing talking to you. I hope you've enjoyed the listening bit. I'll get my words right eventually. So, and I look forward to talking to you again. I've got another topic coming up. Like I said, I'm back to normal jogging this week, and my podcasts are back into my priority, because my artwork has been prioritized for the 4 days, and now podcasts are back in. Juggling life balance. I'm going to talk about life balance, actually, to offer a little bit of an insight into that, and really the negatives to not managing a good work-life balance, because a lot of us do it, and it's wrong. We shouldn't do it. So take care, look after yourself, and I will speak to you amazing people really soon.